O.J. Mayo. O.J. Mayo's NBA career didn't end like most players, with a farewell game or a retirement speech. It ended suddenly in July 2016, when the NBA banned him for 2 years after he broke the league's drug policy. This wasn't a normal suspension where a player can come back quickly. It was a serious 2-year ban. During that time, no team was allowed to sign him, and he couldn't play in the NBA at all. This happened right after his contract with the Milwaukee Bucks had ended. He wasn't playing well before the ban either. He had injured his ankle by tripping on the stairs, played only 41 games that season, and averaged less than 8 points per game. The league didn't officially say what drug Mayo used, but he later shared that it was a prescription painkiller, not something like cocaine or heroin. Still, the NBA has strict rules. Some drugs, like heroin, can get a player banned after just one failed test. This mistake cost Mayo a lot. He lost millions of dollars in possible future contract. Some of his teammates supported him, but his NBA journey was already fading. After the ban, he played overseas in China, Taiwan, Puerto Rico, and even Egypt. Now at 36 years old, it's clear his NBA career is officially over. Jontay Porter. Jontay Porter's NBA story took a shocking turn in 2024. He was permanently banned from the league, not for drugs but for gambling. In March, the NBA noticed something strange. Large bets were being placed on games Porter played in. Just a month later, after an investigation, the league banned him for life. The details were disturbing. Porter had told gamblers secret information about his health, like when he planned to leave games early. This gave the gamblers an unfair advantage. He also bet on NBA games himself, which is strictly against the rules. Even worse, he bet against his own team, the Toronto Raptors, which is a huge violation of trust. One of the people he helped tried to win $1 million using Porter's inside information. Luckily, that bet was caught and stopped, but the damage was done. Porter later admitted in court that he committed fraud and is now facing 3 to 4 years in prison. Because his actions broke both NBA and legal rules, he won't be allowed back. The NBA doesn't allow appeals in gambling cases. Once you're banned, it's permanent. Porter was just 24 years old, with a lot of potential, but now his NBA career is completely finished. Tyreke Evans. Tyreke Evans was once a rising star. He had a great rookie season and played for several NBA teams. But in May 2019, the NBA banned him for 2 years for using a drug of abuse. The league didn't say what drug it was, but it wasn't a performance booster. It was likely something serious like cocaine or heroin. At the time, Evans had just finished a season with the Indiana Pacers, where he averaged about 10 points per game. He was a free agent, hoping to get signed by another team. But after the ban, no one wanted to take the risk. Evans stayed away from the NBA for 2 full years. In 2022, he tried to come back. He played in the G League to prove himself and eventually got a 10-day contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. But he didn't get much of a chance. He played for just 5 minutes and scored only 2 points. After that, no NBA team signed him again. He's now 35 years old, and although he was allowed to return, his time in the league seems to be over. It's a sad ending for a player who once had so much promise. Richard Dumas. Richard Dumas had talent that could have made him a star, but his NBA career was destroyed by drugs before it even began. He was drafted in the early 1990s, but the league banned him in 1991 before he ever played a game because of drug issues. He finally made his debut a year later in 1992 and had a strong start. Fans and experts believed he could be great. But things quickly went wrong again. Dumas failed 3 more drug tests during his career. In 1995, he broke a contract agreement by drinking beer, which he said helped him manage his bipolar disorder. However, alcohol was against the rules of his rehab program, and it led to more trouble. The NBA had enough and banned him for life at just 26 years old. He tried playing overseas, but he never came back to the NBA. After basketball, Dumas faced more challenges. He was arrested in 2013 for theft. His life never fully got back on track, and sadly, he passed away in 2020. His story shows how even the most talented players can lose everything if they don't get help in time. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was one of the NBA's top scorers in the mid-2000s. Known as Agent Zero, he played for the Washington Wizards and was famous for his clutch shots and explosive offense. But in 2009, his career took a shocking turn. Arenas brought guns into the team locker room, which is strictly against NBA and legal rules. The incident happened during a dispute with teammate Javaris Crittenton over a gambling debt from a card game. At one point, both players reportedly pointed guns at each other inside the team facility. The NBA quickly suspended Arenas indefinitely in January 2010. The suspension lasted the rest of the season, and he was also charged with a felony for carrying an unlicensed firearm. He avoided jail time but served probation and did community service. The incident destroyed his reputation and derailed his career. He was never banned for life, but he was never the same afterward. Arenas returned briefly but struggled with injuries and was eventually traded and waived. He later played in China and retired in 2013. Once a fan favorite and all-star, his legacy will always be tied to one of the most dangerous off-court incidents in NBA history. Latrell Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell was a talented NBA player known for his fierce competitiveness and scoring ability. But in 1997, he was suspended for one of the most shocking acts in league history. He choked his coach during practice. Sprewell was playing for the Golden State Warriors when he got into an argument with head coach P.J. Carlesimo. The fight escalated, and Sprewell suddenly grabbed the coach by the neck and choked him for nearly 10 seconds before teammates pulled him off. After leaving the court, Sprewell came back and tried to attack the coach again. The NBA took this very seriously. At first, he was suspended for 10 games by the Warriors, but the league increased the punishment to a 68-game suspension without pay, the longest non-drug-related suspension in NBA history at that time. His contract was also canceled. Sprewell eventually returned to the league and had success with the New York Knicks and Minnesota Timberwolves, even reaching the NBA Finals in 1999. But the choking incident haunted his reputation. After rejecting a contract extension in 2005, saying he had a family to feed, he never played again. His story shows how one moment of bad judgment can damage a career, even if the player still has talent. Chris "Birdman" Anderson. Chris Anderson, also known as Birdman for his wild hairstyles and energetic play, faced one of the toughest punishments in the NBA, a 2-year ban in 2006. The league said he had used a drug of abuse, but they never told the public exactly what drug it was. It wasn't steroids or anything performance-related. It was likely something serious, like cocaine or meth. Because of the ban, Anderson lost his $10 million contract with the Denver Nuggets and couldn't play in the NBA until 2008. But unlike many others who got banned, Birdman didn't give up. He used the 2 years to recover and focus on improving his life. When he came back in 2008, he played for the New Orleans Hornets and later returned to Denver, where he became a fan favorite for his defense and high-energy style. His biggest moment came in 2013 when he joined the Miami Heat and won an NBA championship alongside LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Birdman played until 2018 before retiring. His comeback is rare. Most banned players never return, but Birdman beat the odds. His story is one of the few hopeful ones, showing that people can recover and succeed if they work hard to change. Donald Sterling. Donald Sterling wasn't a player. He was the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. But in 2014, he became the first NBA owner to be banned for life. The reason? A recording came out where he was heard making racist comments to his girlfriend. He told her not to bring black people to Clippers games and made other offensive remarks. This caused outrage across the league. Fans, players, and even other team owners spoke out. Some players even threatened to boycott games if he wasn't punished. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver acted fast. Within days, he announced that Sterling was banned from the NBA for life. That meant he couldn't attend games, make team decisions, or have any involvement in the league ever again. The league also forced him to sell the Clippers. The team was bought by Steve Ballmer, former Microsoft CEO, for $2 billion. Sterling tried to fight back by suing the NBA, but he lost. The ban stayed in place, and he faded out of the public eye. Now, at 90 years old, he's completely gone from basketball. His story is a reminder that racism has no place in sports, or anywhere, and that the NBA will take strong action when needed. Connie Hawkins. Connie Hawkins never even got the chance to play in the NBA before he was banned. In 1961, while he was still in college, his name came up during a big gambling investigation. The strange part? There was no proof that he actually did anything wrong. He wasn't caught betting or fixing games. He was just friends with someone involved in the scandal. But the NBA still banned him just because of the connection. Hawkins spent years playing in other leagues like the ABA and the Harlem Globetrotters. He even filed a lawsuit against the NBA, saying the ban was unfair. In 1969, after 8 long years, he finally won. The NBA let him join, and he played for the Phoenix Suns. Even though he was past his prime, Hawkins still became an all-star and showed people how talented he really was. But those prime years, his best years, were gone. He lost the chance to be one of the greats during the peak of his athletic ability. His story is both inspiring and sad. He proved he belonged in the league, but the unfair ban kept him from achieving all that he could have. It's a lesson about justice and second chances. Roy Tarpley. Roy Tarpley was one of the most talented big men of his time. He had great size, athletic ability, and skill. In the late 1980s, he was a rising star with the Dallas Mavericks and was even named the NBA's 6th Man of the Year. But Tarpley struggled with addiction. He was arrested multiple times for drunk driving and tested positive for drugs like cocaine. The NBA gave him several chances. He was suspended and later reinstated, but he kept violating the rules. After 3 serious drug violations, the league permanently banned him in 1995. He tried to make a comeback in 2007 to 2008 by playing overseas and even filed a lawsuit against the NBA, claiming they discriminated against him because of his alcoholism. But nothing came of it. In 2009, he tried one last time to play, even at age 44. Sadly, his health and career had declined too much. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 50. Tarpley's story is heartbreaking. He had the talent to be an NBA star for many years, but addiction took everything away. His life reminds us how important it is to support mental health and addiction recovery before it's too late. John Drew. John Drew was a talented scorer in the late 1970s and early 80s, known for putting up big numbers with the Atlanta Hawks and later the Utah Jazz. He was even a 2-time All-Star. But while his career was shining on the outside, Drew was battling a cocaine addiction behind the scenes. The NBA tried to help him, sending him to rehab multiple times. But after failing 3 drug tests, the league banned him for life in 1985. He was the first player to be permanently banned under the NBA's new drug policy at the time. It was a big deal, and many players were shocked. Drew was still young enough to play, and he had the skills. But his addiction had taken control of his life. After the ban, he never returned to the NBA. He later admitted that drugs had cost him everything, from his career to his family. He spent some time in prison for selling drugs and lived a quiet life after that. John Drew passed away in 2022 at the age of 67.